All right, it's the third hour of the Elias Makos Show. Hope you're having a splendid morning. Sunny, you got some sun here on the corner of Pappy and Lebec. I'm enjoying that. Okay, let's get to our next topic. We spoke about this during the Big Five. Boy, did it ever get a lot of reaction. Remax Quebec has given the boot to two real estate brokers after a La Presse investigation found that the duo were using bogus offers with the help of family members to artificially boost the price of homes. The investigation claims that the alleged shady deals led one unsuspecting couple to buy their home for $40,000 more than they had originally planned. And this morning when we talked about it, obviously I heard from a lot of people who are enraged and upset about it. And we also heard from real estate brokers who were just as upset because of the bad look this gives the entire industry. Let's now go to Terry Kilakos, a very familiar voice right here on CJAD 800, president and founder of Northeast Real Estate and Mortgage Agency. Terry, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Elias, how are you?
First things first, your reaction to now, it's 2 days in a row here, La Presse with the story, now the update this morning that these real estate agents got the axe. But what's your reaction to this story?
I'm frankly disgusted by it. I can't believe, especially, whether it's Remax or any banner. I mean, these are obviously great banners or credible banners. And to have agents working there that would actually do something like that to boost up prices artificially, it's criminal, frankly. And it does give, the entire industry a bad name. The one thing that I can say is that not all realtors are obviously like that. The majority of real estate brokers are actually fantastic and great people, and they do everything that they possibly can for their clients. But this was such a horrible, horrible story. I can't believe it.
Terry, here's my worry, right? Because, and this, by the way, this has nothing to do with the real estate industry. This is just human nature in general. Mm-hmm. If you have a system where you can get away with something, chances are someone will try and get away with it. So I guess the question I have is, couldn't we be doing things here to make sure this never happens?
Yeah, I mean, the elimination of kind of blind bidding where you're not... See, in their case, they were actually writing up offers. So there was an offer on the table. If those vendors were to opt and purchase and choose to go with one of those offers, those realtors would actually be holding those properties, right? They would actually be liable and they would have to actually buy them. But in this case, they use them so that they can get the vendors to actually bona fide their offer. And, those documents that are used to bona fide the offers, they're legitimate documents, and it's stuff that it does come up, mm-hmm. in an offer where there's multiple offers that are coming into a property. Sometimes you do need to bona fide that offer. However, in this case, the problem comes in with, these unscrupulous agents that did something like this. I want to say that it's an isolated incident. I think that it's, I've never seen agents doing something like this before. I wouldn't be surprised, however, if it is something that has come up before, that has happened before with other people.
Because Terry, I think about it. Yes, you can put in an offer, and there's, because I've done it before. I bought a place, and you can put an offer, and there's so many outs, right? Oh, the financing doesn't line up, or the quote unquote home inspection, So if it's a false bid, and by some chance the false bid gets quote unquote selected, well, then the buyer can just back out, right? So I guess this leads me to the question: how does someone protect themselves? How does someone who's trying to enter the market, buying their first home, what are the precautions that they can take so that they're not, falling victim to an unscrupulous agent on the other end?
So I've said this before. I'm going to keep saying it. You always, always, always have to go into a transaction represented by someone that is looking out for your best interest. So having proper representation with your own real estate broker who can basically, reach out to the other broker and say, no, I'm sorry, this is, you're asking way too much. This is, we're not going to bona fide the offer, put us in second place. Unfortunately, what happens is in many cases, a lot of buyers, they're going to go directly to the listing broker. And the listing broker, either they're going to take the deal and work the transaction, which OACIQ has put in rules with respect to that, but or they're going to hand it off to someone that's in their office or someone that's in their circle. So you want to be able to find your own real estate broker that you can trust that's going to be looking out for your interest. You always have to remember, when you're going directly to a listing broker to buy a property, the interest of that listing broker is to get the highest price possible for that house. The interest of your real estate broker as a buyer going into a transaction is for you to buy that lowest price possible, right? So you could see how those interests conflict when you're going directly to a listing broker. Mm-hmm. So you need to be properly represented. If you're not, stuff like this can happen, and it will happen again.
Terry, are there other systems that we should be looking at? I mean, and maybe it's another way they do things in another part of Canada, or maybe there's a state in the U.S. that does it, or in Europe or whatever. Is there a couple things we could change about the way we bid on homes right now, today, to make sure this never happens?
Yeah, the elimination of blind bidding altogether. You know, you should know how much the other bid underneath you is. You know, when you're buying something, you can't go into it blindly. And this is something that, you know, the OACIQ has talked about and the government has talked about. The Trudeau government has talked about blind bidding. And it doesn't seem to be something that's being really enforced. You need to know, hey, are you willing to pay more for it? Yes or no? And if you're willing to pay more, then great. But at least you know. You're not going into a situation and basically buying something blindly. The other thing is, and this is, you know, thankfully this OACIQ has put in rules with respect to this, but there was a lot of brokers, especially during the pandemic, to generate bidding wars. What they would basically do is they would undervalue properties. So a property that should be selling for $500, they would list it for $399, basically to get in as many buyers through the door, all competing against each other. It's terrible. It's a horrible practice. It's something that for us at our agency we've never done. I've had clients ask us to do that, and we said absolutely not. If your house is supposed to sell for $5, we're going to list it for $5. And if somebody wants to pay that or they want to pay more, then that's up to them. But we're not going to undervalue it, and we're not going to overvalue it. We're going to price it properly.
Terry, if you find out that your real estate agent is being dishonest, what recourse do you have? What should someone do if they've got genuine concerns about a transaction?
The first thing that you need to do, if I was to find out that one of my agents was being dishonest, the first thing that I would do is terminate. And this has happened in the past, where, you know, you hire a real estate broker and, you know, they interview really well, but then all of a sudden you realize maybe they're not the best. It's immediate termination. And I've actually gone as far as even reporting them to the OACIQ. And they were sanctioned for stuff that they did. The other thing that you can do as a consumer is if you feel that your real estate broker is doing something that's wrong, the first call to make is to the dirigeant d'agence, which is the agency executive officer of the company that they're at. If the agency executive officer does not take action, then at that point, you should be reporting them to the OACIQ, and there's actually a whole section on their website where you can go in, you fill out, you know, an entire report, and they will launch an investigation and determine whether or not what the real estate broker has done warrants sanctions or warrants suspension or whatnot.
Terry, we have to leave it there. I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time.
Anytime. Be well.
That's Terry Kilakos, of course, president and founder of Northeast Real Estate and Mortgage Agency.